Hi, guys. Welcome to Bar Exam. I'm your host, Allie Rayner, and today we have a very sad topic to actually discuss. This week, coming for the bar, we're discussing the career and untimely death of rapper Rich Homie Quan. Real name, DeQuantes Devontae Lamar. Unfortunately, on September 5th, 2024, Rich Homie Quan's girlfriend, Amber Williams, called 911 because Quan didn't seem to be breathing, have a heartbeat, and he seemed to be foaming at the mouth. And later on, the rapper was presumed dead at an Atlanta hospital later that day. He was just 34 years old. So we wanted to discuss his life and his career, and go over some of his successes throughout the years. So I'm here with the Bar Exam crew. As always, we have Mr. Marcus in the building. What's up, Marcus?
Yo, what up? What up?
What up? And then we have Eric G as well in the building. What's up, Eric?
What's the deal?
What's up? So we are gonna each, discuss one of our favorite songs from Rich Homie Quan. But I guess maybe we should talk about some of like his hits and some of his stats throughout the years. So Eric, do you have any of his stats that we can talk about?
Yeah, for sure. Quan was a hit machine, to say the least. Especially when he first came out. That 2013 to 2017 run that he was on was pretty special. So he broke the one that he broke out with is Type of Way. That was the first single to break him off. That was off his mixtape Still Going In Reloaded. That went gold, and that reached number 50 on the charts. And then he also has Walk Through with Problem, which is another gold single. He has Flex, which is a 3 times platinum single, and that is probably not even probably, that is his most successful song on the Billboard charts. That reached number 26 overall. And then he also had Ride Out with Kid Ink, Tyga, Wale, and YG, which was on the Furious 7 soundtrack. And that song also went gold. So he was definitely a part of a lot of crazy hits. I'm not even mentioning the features like My Nigga, like I Know with Yo Gotti, Lifestyle with Thug, which I'm sure a few of these songs we're going to talk about later. But yeah, he was definitely a hit machine, gold and platinum single selling artist. Yeah, very, very successful. To me, one of the guys who was very instrumental in shaping what that new sound of Atlanta was. Just as much as people give Thug that credit, to me, I feel like you got to give Quan just as much, just because they came up literally together. They were making music together. We heard a lot of that music. So I was very sad to hear about this, but he was definitely very successful. I think a lot of people might sleep on that, but yeah, he definitely was, and the numbers clearly they don't lie there.
Yeah, I agree. And even though like the last 10 years people haven't been talking about him so much like in the mainstream, he's still been dropping a lot of like songs and EPs. Like in 2022 he dropped Family and Moolah, which is an EP, and then in 2024 he dropped the single Achi, featuring 2 Chainz. So I mean, he has still been active out there, and he has a bunch of other records as well. But very unexpected, I feel like. But just because we hadn't heard too much from him in the last couple years, that would make us think that this could be a possibility. I remember when he first came out, I think there was a music video that he was on where they said that he had like a seizure, supposedly, and he like hit his head. And people at the time were thinking that maybe it was drugs or something like that. But after that, that was around, I think, like 2014. So since then, I don't think that anybody had really been thinking that that was a rumor that was out there. But you never know what's going on with people. And then he also had this song called like Wake Up, and I think that was from around 2014 as well. I think. Which was a little bit spooky because when I was listening to it again, I heard a lot of people going back and pulling up some of their favorite songs from him, and they were talking about this one where he expresses how he wants to get out of clubs, how he wants to stop using drugs because he's afraid that he won't wake up. And he even talked about one of his friends having like a bad pill, a fake pill or something like that, and passing away from it. So I just feel like sometimes it's really spooky when rappers kind of like foresee something happening with their death, around like drugs or violence or something like that. I think it's really crazy when they put it in their music, but um, you know, who knows if that was the case? Because I think that people are still waiting for the real autopsy report. So we'll see. But Lil Boosie went online and he basically went straight to X and he said that he already called it an overdose. He said, "Just got word, Rich Homie Quan just OD'd. Just talked to Quan the other day. Gonna miss you, nigga." So I guess the people who are close to him might already be making their own assumptions.
Yeah, Marcus, I'll let you say that about Boosie.
Boosie is a national treasure. I just like we really like they're like in the grand in the Mount Rushmore of national treasure niggas. There's clearly Snoop Dogg number 1, Marshawn Lynch number 2, and damn it, Boosie is number 3. And I don't know who the 4th one is right now, but I just know that Boosie is on the Mount Rushmore of national treasures, and he must be protected.
Why? I feel like I would be so upset if I was actually like a family member of Quan's, because I'd be like, why did you go to the internet to say this before anybody really has an autopsy?
I kind of get what you're saying, Marcus. Boosie is one of them niggas who he's always gonna keep it real, even when the time doesn't necessarily call to keep it real.
Yeah.
Like, or even like say what the real thing is. Like, he's just gonna always just let it be known at all times. And for better or for worse, we do need people like that.
And then to end it, just got word. It's an overdose. I miss you, nigga. That's the real like. I mean,
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at how Boosie said it because it's like so straight and matter to the fact. It's like, bro, really?
And you're gonna see like, now I'm gonna miss you, nigga. And I really feel like Boosie genuinely is gonna miss it. Like, so I mean, yeah, Boosie is a national treasure.
No, he genuinely meant that. It's just the way he said it. It's just like, all right.
Yeah, it came off very, I don't know, like not a whole lot of sympathy. I don't know. I mean, I think that he, like you guys were saying, is very blunt. So like he's not one to add in fluff, not to go into detail. He just is straight to the point. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what his family members say about that, in the next couple of weeks. But at least we're starting to get a little bit more answers. At least we get some more, that we can try and pull some things together and try and understand what happened to him. So, that's interesting, I guess. But so for each of us, we've all picked our own favorite songs from Rich Homie Quan. And I feel like for me, I had to start off with his classic, Type of Way. That is just one of my favorites. He dropped it in 2012, I think close to 2013. And I mainly love it because of the ad libs. Like, I think that they just add so much extra to this and it's fun. I love that he started this whole wave of rappers being a lot more melodic and kind of being sing-songy when they do their lyrics. But especially with this one, I think that it was easy for fans to pick up on it and be able to sing along because it wasn't too complicated. So, I mean, the most famous line, let me see, is the very beginning, it goes, "My niggas been hustling, trying to make them something. Ain't no telling what he'll do for the paper. Ain't no telling. Souffle, I'm straight. I stake my plate. Sade, I'm a smooth operator." Like, I just think that was just a fun flow to go throughout the entire song with. It was bouncy. And then, like, I guess the song really is about him addressing a girl that he's messing around with. He's addressing her boyfriend, saying like, you must feel some type of way. So I thought that was interesting that it was a real person. I always thought that he was just flexing or being, being braggadocious, but apparently there's a real story behind it. And then for me, I think my favorite line here, um, I like the one where he says, when I get to biting on her ear, she make that Tyson face. Don't look like that. Like for me, I just thought it was funny. I thought it was like light, and I think that throughout all of his songs, like he always is like really animated. He's always super different, and he's out there with it. So I just thought that was like funny. Like every once in a while when a rapper decides to make you laugh, I think that's fun. And then I liked his line where he mentions Queen Latifah. I thought it was pretty clever. So he said, "Look like I robbed a bank. I set it off like Queen Latifah because I'm living single." Like I just thought that was fun and a cool reference to the culture. So yeah, so that's got to be my pick. That's his classic. And I'm surprised that it only hit number 50 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. I'm really surprised about that.
Now, here, I'm going to go back real quick. Now, on the rap charts, it hit number 8.
Okay.
Yeah, because in our culture, that song was everywhere.
Everywhere.
That song, you couldn't escape it.
Yeah, for sure. I think it dropped. I want to say it dropped around close to summertime. So yeah, I feel like people were playing it constantly, like at the barbecues. If they were driving down the street, you heard it. Like it was everywhere. So yeah, definitely that makes more sense that it was number 8 on the hip hop charts for sure. But what did you guys think about this song when you first heard it?
I agree with you. It's definitely got that summer feeling to it. You know what it reminds me of? Like I had to listen back to it the other day, and it reminds me so much of like a Roscoe Dash type record. Like, doesn't it? Like it sounds like something that like Roscoe Dash would have made back in the day. Like even like the style of like the hook and like the shit that he's saying on there, like it reminds me a lot of him when he was still kind of getting his footing, because the thing about Roscoe was that like he definitely had a wave, but like I feel like niggas like Quan and people and like other people like that like kind of took what they were doing around that like what was that, like 2012 2013 era. They kind of like took what they were doing and like kind of built upon that. So then you had songs like Type of Way, like Lifestyle, like all these other different records that without the other Atlanta guys like doing melodies in their records, I don't think it would have came across the same way. So I think that definitely helped, because like I really had to sit there and think about it, and I was like, wow, Roscoe Dash definitely would have made this song like back in the day. Like even in my head right now, I could hear a DJ at like a party like blending in all the way turned up to Type of Way. Like it even almost has the same tempo and everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never even thought of it that way, but you're right. Roscoe Dash definitely influenced the culture for a minute as well, especially when it came to like the club records, where I feel like this Rich Homie Quan's is more of like a street record. Like you could play it anywhere. So I think that you're right. Like whereas Rich Homie Quan is for the streets and Roscoe Dash was more for like the club, but yeah, definitely had that influence for sure. Marcus, what about you?
So this was Quan is, I don't know if the right number. I'm gonna say third generation, but Atlanta has always had eras. So Outkast, Big Boy, clearly first era of Atlanta. Lil Jon, Ludacris. Then was the next era, or you could say the same kind of crossover. T.I. And then you had like this little. I want to say Quan is before Lil Baby to me, because he was like that Thug era, the Lil Baby, the Migos, like that run started. I feel like, and Quan was a part of that class, and this was this was also part of. It was Atlanta, but it was something that we haven't heard from Atlanta, like you said, with the from Atlanta artists, and I gotta really go back and look at my look at the time frame. I want to say SoundCloud had just came, like this was the launch of the mumble rap and the SoundCloud rappers, but I'm not quite sure on that one. I want to, but I'm not. I might have to fact check that.
They were a little bit before. They like SoundCloud rap. It was kind of coming up like right around the same time that like Atlanta like was like really bubbling up. But to me, I would say that Atlanta, like those crop of Atlanta people that you just named, they were kind of like the catalyst to all the other SoundCloud rappers kind of borrowing from that Atlanta sound.
Right.
And then like doing, this is, to me, that's where like all these subgenres come from. And that's a conversation for another day. But that's where you get like your Uzis, your Cardis, like your people like that. Like without the Migos, Thug, Quan, like that crop,
that's my point. Yeah, he was. So yeah, that's my point. He opened up the door for a new sound. You know, excuse me. He definitely, you know, was, and this is, and I'm gonna use this word, but it's he was a pioneer in the sense that he's part of he opened the door for a new sound for Atlanta. Like you can't take away, because, and this is we're gonna get into it, I know, later on. All of the songs that you named were his. I still feel Lifestyle was the biggest one ever. And that's not his song, but that's the biggest feat. Like that's one of those, it's not his song. It's one of those, like you didn't even think it was Thug's song. That was, it was that type of record. So, and that was every single way, you know, everywhere. So, I mean, Quan was one of those artists, and I don't want to say he was forgotten, because clearly, well, we'll get into that later with the truck. Yeah, I don't want to say he was a forgotten artist, but he was struggling to find a new footing, and he was easily like a feature away today. Like if there's a record that comes out, probably like, oh, this is Rich Homie Quan with X, Y, and Z 1, 2, and 3. You'd be like, oh yeah, that is gonna go to that, in 2024.
Yeah, that's why I'm surprised that 2 Chainz song. I'm like, I just now heard about that, and it had dropped like in July. So, yeah, I feel like for some weird reason, I feel like he hadn't gotten so much shine the last few years. But you know, I think that like the Thug YSL case kind of has overshadowed a lot of Atlanta stuff right now. So that could be a reason. But yeah, you definitely got a good point. Now, Eric, I'm a little bit curious about what your favorite song is from Rich Homie Quan.
Boy, oh boy, I have quite a few to pick from. So I'm gonna bring up the lyrics for the first 2, and then I'm kind of just, well, you know, I'll bring up the lyrics for the third one too in a minute. So the first song that I want to talk about is one of the ones that I mentioned, Walk Through with Problem. So this was, I don't remember which tape this was on. This might have been also on the Still Going In mixtape, but the reloaded version. But this was when I really like started fucking with Quan heavy, because he started showing like this side of him that like not a lot of Atlanta niggas had the talent to do, or at least they weren't showcasing it yet. He had this like way of making songs that like also had like a West Coast flavor to it. And when he came out with this with Problem, I was like, I was so surprised, because at the time I hadn't heard him do a style like this yet. So when the song comes on and it's like not the same tempo, and he comes on and he goes, I be feeling like the man when I walk through. Ain't studying what you saying when I walk through. I got all these hoes staring when I walk through. I done made a few bands when I walk through. It's like you not even expecting him to get on that type of wave, but that was the first time that I found out that like he had the ability to kind of switch his style up and make like a West Coast type of bop. And this was like right around that time when that Mustard sound was not only was the Atlanta sound building up, but Mustard was like kind of honing in his craft too, and like other West Coast producers around that time. So I just appreciated the fact that Quan had the ability to switch it up and get on that type of shit, because that was another one that I felt like was a underrated heater for him, but it was one of the ones that, like, if you fucked with that West Coast type of shit, you were fucking with this for sure. The second record that I want to bring up, and I'm bringing this up because this is probably my favorite hook that Quan ever did, and it's the hook that he did on Travis Scott's Mamacita with Young Thug. That was on the Days Before a Rodeo project, and I feel like, as far as features goes, that's probably another one that goes very under the radar. And I say that simply because that project was a mixtape, so it wasn't like that was just like a strictly like straight to Dat Piff thing. So it wasn't like that single was able to be like sold anywhere, but it still it was one of those when like Travis played it at his concerts, or like when DJs would play it, it was one of those where like everybody like went crazy to it. And I just love his part, because him and Thug kind of trade a little bit, but it's really Thug just doing the ad libs, and then Quan is just rapping the whole part. And his part is, had to cut my phone off bit, got it vibrating on me like a beeper. Boy, I'm in Colorado smoking California reefer. Hate a bitch so bad, caught a ticket because I really want to meet her. Hey, I ain't a Kinder Wayne, but they really want to see my Mamacita. Oh, they actually got that part wrong in the Genius part, because he says way more than that in the last part. But yeah, I just love that part because it like basically sets up the rest of the song, where they like repeat the Mamacita part like over and over again. But it like starts off with Quan being the one to be the bridge to set up the pre-hook. And I love that even though Thug was the bigger artist at the time, he let Quan basically take over the song and take over the ad lib, or take over like the hook, so that Thug could just do the ad libs and then have a little part on the verse. So that part is just one part for me. And then the third song that I want to mention is a song called Man of the Year. And that song to me is that was just one of those songs where like it's like one of those like good ass uplifting, like good ass feeling type of vibe songs. Like it has that Atlanta bop to it, but like he's literally the whole time he's just bragging on himself. He's bigging up himself. Like he starts off the song. He's like, I'd have walked in with 2 cups feeling like I'm the man of the year. Like he's just the whole time, the whole song, it's a song just about bigging yourself up, like showing that you're the shit. And it even has like this like nice little like jazzy like horn like percussion production in the background. It's a real nice upbeat record that like not a lot of people probably have heard, because it's again on one of his mixtapes that unfortunately never got to be sold as an album. But yeah, that's just another one of those where like, yeah, like if you just look at these and a broke nigga can't understand 100 grand how I feel, like it's just little simple shit like that to me it's just one of those records where you just put it on and you yourself instantly just feel like the man or the woman or whatever you identify as. Like for real. that's just it's that good of a record. If you turn that shit on, you gonna feel like the shit that day.
Oh,
hell
hey,
yeah.
you an asshole for that.
He's just keeping it real. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Who knows what you identify?
Who knows?
Hey, like you
gotta keep it all inclusive.
Right.
Man, I almost said fuck that, but then that might have got me canceled. like
Probably.
Like yeah, that's a whole nother. Yeah, we're gonna pass that one up. You wild, bro. You wild. You wild. Some nigga.
He has some good picks, though. He definitely has some good picks in there. I like those. And then, honestly, like it's hard to pick from the mixtapes because I didn't realize he had so many of them. Like, you know, so there's plenty of work out there for him, or from him, I mean. But yeah, it does seem that like his theme is always going to be about success, about, you know, kind of being a little bit braggadocious, but I feel like you can expect that from rappers. But I love that, yeah, majority of the time, if he's going to be on a song, you expect him on the hook, right? And like you said, I love that majority of the songs that he did with Young Thug, Thug just let him do what he had to do on majority of the song. Like Thug was just a little bit extra in there with the sprinkle on top, but mainly it would become like Rich Homie Quan song. So that's very very true.
Was
And I
he
think that
ever
Oh,
on
little
real quick. Oh, my bad, Marcus. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just
Uh,
asking a question.
oh, okay. I just want to bring up real quick. This is another reason why he has a sense of humor about like bigging himself up, right? Because this is, I just want to give you this order of mixtapes, right? First mixtape, I go in on every song. Second mixtape, still going in. Third mixtape, I promise I will never stop going in. Fourth mixtape in this series. If you think I will ever stop going in, go ask Royal Rich, which I guess is a homie of his. Don't know. And then there's another one still going in. Like he like I just appreciate that the way that he came up with that concept, but it's just funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't holding back, that's for sure. He was definitely going to brag about his craft. But yeah, so, you know, very sad to have him pass so soon at 34 years old. Very unexpectedly too. I don't know. Like I think that nobody was expecting this news. But lately it does seem that like more rappers are playing around with pills and all types of hardcore drugs, and I just hope that we don't have to continue to have episodes like this because I feel like we've been having them more and more frequently lately. But
No,
You
no.
know, actually, I compared to the past like couple of years, I feel like it hasn't been that bad this year as far as people passing away off drugs.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really heard too many rappers that have like OD'd this year. Now, last year in 2022, and like kind of even like a little bit coming out of the pandemic in 2021, to me that's when it was really bad.
Okay.
Because that's when Fent really started going around like heavy, like because I feel like it was only in certain parts of the country, like kind of early on in like the late 10s. But like once 2020 hit and the pandemic, and after that, that shit started flooding around everywhere. And to me, that's when we started hearing about all these rappers ODing and shit like that. Like this year, it's been a little quiet. I would have to go back and look that up, which is not a thing that I like to look up, but just thinking about it, it doesn't feel like it's that bad.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I think somebody just had a car accident outside my house.
Geez, always something crazy going on over there. Oh my gosh. Well,
I can tell by how quick his eyes went from how he just went from this one.
Right.
He went bug-eyed real quick.
For real, that must have been a crazy crash. I can't believe we can't hear it. That noise cancellation is A1, okay?
Yeah, because I'm gonna be listening back for it whenever we play this back.
Right. I don't know. I don't think we'll hear anything. Okay, but I think it sucks because we were actually gonna ask Marcus. I was gonna see if he had his favorite song. Now we can't even ask him. I guess we'll find out soon what the heck is going on. But I don't know if Shane wants to maybe share his favorite song from Rich Homie Quan. I don't know.
Yeah, I can. I mean, probably. I mean, I didn't listen to a lot of Rich Homie, but I do. I definitely like Type of Way. There was at least a month or two where everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of people were saying that was like a popular slang at the time, obviously too. Like people were something makes me feel some type of way and blah blah blah, right? So whenever that opportunity presented itself, I would always sing it like Rich Homie Quan. So you know what I'm saying? So that was just like a fun thing I was doing. So I remember that song and Lifestyle. Like I thought Lifestyle was good. Even though I wasn't really a Thug fan at the time. Listening back, like I did, I kind of always liked Quan though.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to him a lot, but I always liked the stuff I heard from him. So that's probably what is Marcus doing? Hold on. All right. Hold on, Marcus. Let me.
Oh man.
Oh, please tell me I can see this.
I can't. Just
I
give me a
cannot.
second. We're doing some live action edits right now. Now stay on camera. Hold on. I got you.
I'm trying to go to my back camera.
Bro, what is going on right now?
Hold on. We just don't have to. All right, Marcus, what's going on?
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
Yo,
What is going on?
are those train tracks?
Nah, somebody had an accident.
Oh, never mind.
Oh my God, gang. You lucky right now. I want to go to jail. I'm not
Oh, nigga ain't got no insurance. Oh, come on, gang.
No.
It's all bad.
Damn.
Gonna go to jail. That's all. Ooh, wee.
Why did you do that, gang? Why did you do that?
Out there, people. Y'all gotta be careful out there. This is what happens.
You didn't go to my fucking baby, bro. You know how much car this car cost, gang? Like, bro, what the fuck? Y'all said be cool. Y'all understand? This is a $35,000 car.
Ooh.
What the fuck, bro? Damn, now I'm out there fucking roof. I'm already fucking 19.
All right, Marcus, you in St. Louis. Go on and get up out of there. Go on and get back.
Right.
Nah, nigga, this is wild.
Could this nigga get mad at you for filming?
Right. Oh, no, that's what we do here.
All right.
Yeah,
This is acceptable. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, this is pure acceptable behavior.
Oh, okay.
Dog, it's a gang of niggas out there now. That's
Yeah, it is.
crazy.
Right, I was saying, how many people? Where they come from?
Damn.
Right up in the
So how many cars are involved?
Fucking go.
How did it feel like? Damn.
Like 2 or 3.
They come at you to stop. I don't give a fuck how old you are. I'm 90, nigga. You sitting there on fucking road, man. What the fuck you doing?
He heated.
Bruh.
Damn. All right.
Insane.
Anyway.
Well, live from the scene, Mr. Marcus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be back in a minute. Yeah. So.
Okay.
All right, but Eric, I got a question for you though.
Yeah. What up?
Do you think that some of Quan's popularity kind of phased out a little bit around the time that he was having issues with Thug? Because I feel like he kind of got quiet around that time, and Thug just kept getting bigger and bigger, and so you know what I'm saying? Like, not necessarily that people picked a side, but like on some. Like, well, you're not really active like that no more, whereas Thug is still out here. So now we just riding with Thug. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean, that was a big part of it because, I mean, you gotta think about it like this. They had that Rich Gang tape, which at the time, and especially looking back on it now, people think that that's one of the best collaborative rap mixtapes of all time. So, because of that, they didn't know how good the music was that they were making at the time because they didn't know that they were kind of shaping like what the next sound of Atlanta was going to be, right?
yeah.
So then, all the drama starts, and to me, it was real bad when Thug would like kind of constantly shit on Quan, and you never really heard Quan's rebuttal or like his response towards it. Like he would like kind of like say little slick things, but like Thug was going at Quan hard. Like I remember back around that time when Thug was beefing with people, it was one of those where it was like 100 miles an hour type thing with Thug. Like he was beefing, and he was gonna let everybody know that that's who my op is at the moment. So,
Yeah.
like, I definitely think that was like a big hindrance because right around that time, this is right around the time that Thug is also becoming who he was. So that probably hindered a lot of people who Thug was working with, who Quan probably wanted to work with too. It probably hindered Quan's progress a lot because, like, while he was probably still able to maintain a lot of those like Atlanta relationships, and I mean, you can kind of see from the outpouring of support and love that he received when he did pass. So you can kind of like see that, but you know, that's outside of that. You know, Thug was getting looks from like Kanye West around this point. You know what I mean? Like that's a different level. And you gotta think this is a Kanye West around 2014, 2015 when people were still rocking with him heavy. So you getting that Thug cosign, that means everything. Whereas Quan, you know, he's getting those big Atlanta cosigns. Like he's getting the 2 Chainses, he's getting the TIs, he's getting the Jeezys, like, and then he was even getting the cosigns from some of the West Coast people, like YG and people like that. And like, you know what I'm saying? So like he had his foot tapped into the game, but Thug was just on such a wider scale that I think that beef really did slow down that progress because of just how much more connection Young Thug did than Quan did at that time.
Got you. I mean, I didn't even know that they had that type of beef. Like, so was it like Thug was like calling him out on his songs, or was he tweeting about it?
That beef originally starts over basically what happened when they were trying to create their next project after that. Because a lot of I know a lot of it was like kind of like on some personal shit. Like I think some of it was possibly over like relationship drama. But then a lot of it was also like over label issues, which I think the label issues is kind of what led to the larger split because a lot of it ended up being over money. So once the money started getting into play, I think that's what ultimately led to the split. But I guess the thing for me that makes it I guess sad for me really is the fact that like we never got the reconciliation. And because of everything that Thug has been going through the past couple of years, like how can they even really, you know? So
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you touched on this because did you talk about Woody?
No, not yet.
So like that's what made this passing kind of crazy. And I'm okay. Conspiracy theory in the internet is always undefeated. Do I believe Thug had anything to do with this? Absolutely not. Like I'm not even gonna sprinkle that in the air like, you know, he had his name in his mouth and then sort of get, you know, his people. Like I don't even think that Quan name came up in the trial because Woody said that him and somebody else shot up their daddy barbershop. Right? Like last week, that was one of the Woody been saying a whole lot of crazy shit in this trial. But like he said they shot up the daddy barbershop. Quan, I want to say 2 days before he died, maybe even a day. Said he called cap on me. He was like, "Nah, that ain't what happened. That's not true. That's not what happened." He was about to get into it. He like, but that ain't what happened. Like, X, Y, Z. Then he passed, and then now everybody's a Facebook detective. And shit, including me. You see what the fuck just happened outside my house? Shit,
right.
That's the second. So yeah, backstory on that real quick. The light is already out because somebody else ran through the stop sign and went through the apartment complex in the gate. So it's been a flashing red all weekend. Mm-hmm. But That's the fourth time somebody's also hit this light. So now that somebody else been hit it, had an accident from the light, like that's what. And I actually thought it was closer, like it was outside my house, but it sounded like they hit the last time they hit a tree that was in my yard. That's what, because when I turned, it was he hit him so close and so loud. I thought he hit a tree in my yard. That's why I was like, fuck. That's why I went outside. But yeah, crazy shit happens here in St. Louis every day.
That's wild.
Every day.
Fix that
light. Right. And that's actually wild because the dude didn't he was finna beat his like you could have you can have an accident here and get fucked up from the accident and then get fucked up for having the accident. That's a common occurrence. Like if you like you hit me and then you like, oh, you okay? Yeah, you ain't got no. You say the wrong. You gonna get fucked up again. Like that happens.
Jeez.
So, but anyway, back to the why.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it's this has to be the craziest show we've done.
Yeah,
for sure.
One of
this is one of the craziest.
It's up there.
This is up there. But
so speaking of unexpected though, so we also saw some people hop online after Rich Homie Quan's passing and basically try and out relationships, secret relationships like Erica Banks. And I know Marcus definitely had something to say about this.
Like, okay, if you pass, right?
I hate when people do this when they pass, by the way. I hate it.
It's a culture thing with us. Like the first, what happened? Oh my God. How it's a why. That's kind of the natural human, but nobody wants to be that person. How did they pay? Like you don't want to type that comment. Like I might call you, be like, hey bro, you know what happened? Something with X, Y, and Z. The second is you always see the clout. And when I when people say, oh, it's fake love out here, you wasn't rocking with their music when they you could always say it was 50-50 or, if that was true or not. But now with the clout and I will say this, sometimes it's not for clout, it's to prove legitimacy to the story that you're telling about that individual. So there is a separation that you're able to oh no, I was just on the phone with B King. We was talking about doing some business or, and this is why I'm just trying to show you that he called me or I was in contact with him when I tell that story post versus me like, man, I had just seen him. Oh my God, we was rocking. It's a different level of fame. And Erica Banks shit was wild only in the sense she tried to come across as, he wasn't, that they had a relationship. Nobody else would know my bond with him. Oh my God. It was the other woman but in a sense too, we had something real and he couldn't figure out his situation to an extent, we'll say Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, this was my person. This was, this was who I wanted to be with forever, and we just couldn't figure it out. And I played my place and played my role, and I was suffering in silence, and all the things that would make women and come together and do this kumbaya hug. And then we found out you was one of 5 or one of 4.
Oh, I didn't know that part of it.
Oh yeah, there's more. So Quan had 3 or 4 of them. She wasn't the only one. Yes, she just wanted to be first.
Right.
So now it's not oh yeah, but then they because people hate her so much, they didn't found the interview of Quan saying hey, I can have the most expensive bitch and pay for her in the world, and do whatever, but I'm gonna always go back to my baby mama. She number one. I'm always going back to her. She so what you tried to make it seem like you was the other people, I was his missing piece, and we just couldn't figure it out. And he didn't already confirm nah, I'm gonna always be with my baby mama no matter what. And I mean, this is so disrespectful. I don't think they ever should have played or that 911 call.
No,
I couldn't
Like,
even
no, that was a
listen to it
terrible
'cause I
idea.
feel
like I don't think and like and understand that I listened to it one because I didn't know what happened. So, you know, I'm like, well, was this a setup? Like, was it? It was so many questions when the call got released that I was listening to it almost for informational purposes. Like, well, who found him? What did they ask? Who, all of the questions that they went through, and then like it, because it didn't show her in the best light.
no.
Like it, and I understand when you in the moment, you're not thinking best light. You're literally reacting. But like I feel like that 911 operator was rude. Like I felt like she was just reading from a script, which I mean I know you are, but she had like no I don't know. It just the whole thing was like distasteful. And then I also remember it's not what you do, it's how you do it. And it also remembers who you are.
Yep.
Like, let's not remember too far long ago, Kobe Bryant passed away. And his helicopter pictures were shared amongst staff members. They didn't even hit the internet. We talking about highway patrolmen on a tech or whatever law enforcement people on a text thread and got sued in California. And you didn't hear anything. I mean, she sued him, but you didn't hear no 911 call get released. You didn't see no pictures get released. You didn't hear no report. Everything was official. Everything that you heard from that point on was official. Like, oh, we're working the investigation. Well, you heard nothing until it was official. Shit, we damn near know what Molly pill he popped now.
Yeah.
Like, and this is in Atlanta, so like it kind of like the culture is just different for different people. And it's like who cares about what and how people move around. You just see different aspects. And I feel like Erica Banks was out there for clout. I feel like she wanted to sit there and say like, oh, he's passed and I'm so, and I'm not. Let me also say this. Two things can be true at the same time. She could legitimately be grieving for him, which I believe she is. But at the same time, this is an opportunity that you're never going to have. And I don't want to tell my story post. I'm going to tell my story pre, and I'm going to ride the wave right now. So I'm not going to say she's not grieving and she's unaffected. So
Yeah, I mean, she definitely seems like she's grieving, but I felt like it was just weird because when you guys were together, if you guys didn't post like that, didn't talk like that, and make it public, then why feel the need to do it after the fact? So yeah, that's why it felt very clout chasey to me. Like if there had been some type of anything that we could look back at and be like, no, like, we saw you guys pop out a lot of times, or you guys had songs together or something like that. There'd already been rumors, sure, but I think it was just very clout chasey to just out of nowhere bring it up. And then also, I think that I would hope that like she did this without knowing how he actually passed, because I feel like once you know how he passed and where he passed, which was actually at his girlfriend's house, his baby mama's house, it's like, I feel like that should also make you realize like, okay, you guys weren't as tight as you thought, and clearly he was that was still his main person. So yeah, I just feel like it didn't have a whole lot of class. It wasn't really classy. I don't think that she really thought it through.
What's the TikTok? Not very demure.
Yeah,
not
she's
very
not very mindful.
Nah.
very tasteful. Not
not at all. Not at all. But yeah, so I don't know, and I didn't know about the other ones either. So I guess we'll see what everyone else has to say. But I feel like when someone has passed, like you might just have to let that go. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now on the flip side of that, I think the good to come out of this is one thing that I saw was Quavo put up like a bunch of like old pictures of like all of them together, like him, Thug, Quan, like Pee Wee Longway, like all of Migos together, like all these like old pictures when they were like in the studio, like all the old producers and shit are together. And then at the very end, you see that it said he reached out to Offset and they squashed shit and they talked. So on the flip side of that, like I hope that it brings people that have issues now that were from that era as far as the rap, as far as like some of the rappers go. I'm glad that it's in a weird way. I'm glad it's bringing some of them together, and hopefully it lasts and it's not something just fleeting. Like hopefully, like because I know like Offset and Quavo, like they've had some real issues. So hopefully this something like this, like again, as unfortunate as it is, hopefully it can help bring one friendship closer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, hopefully we'll see if it really does make a big change. But all right, guys, that's our episode of Bar Exam. Remember to catch us every single Monday for a new episode on the Ethos Media Network YouTube page. But we also have very candid conversations on the Ethos Media Network Patreon page. So you definitely want to check that one out. But we will see you on the next one, guys. This is Bar Exam. Bye.